Guarantee. What's the difference between a warranty and a guarantee? Warranty expires. Perfect, Abby. Abby, right? Warranty expires. Guarantee is longer, but there's a difference though between a lifetime guarantee and a forever guarantee. You've heard of lifetime guarantees before? Like dishwashers have a lifetime guarantee for the 7 years that that dishwasher is supposed to last. It's an arbitrary amount of time they give that product. The difference with Cutco is it's forever. Absolutely forever. They can pass it down generation to generation. They don't need a receipt. They don't need proof of purchase. Forever. There are about a dozen products in the world that are forever guaranteed. Who knows some other products that are forever guaranteed? Craftsman and Snap-on tools. Perfect. Caitlin, what else? What's forever guaranteed? What? Rolex watch. Perfect. Forever guaranteed. What types of cars? Rolls-Royce. Good. Rolls-Royce cars. Forever guaranteed. Cutco is one of a dozen products in the world that are forever guaranteed. You're selling the best of the best. Nobody can ever beat Cutco. All right. So the best thing about Cutco is our 4-part forever what? Cutco is one of the only products you can buy once, use every day, and never have to what? Replace. The product is your proof of purchase. You can pass it down generation to generation. The first is the forever what? If anything ever goes wrong with your what? Cutco. Just send it back to the factory and the company will fix it or replace it for what? Free. You'll never have to replace your, it's paid to replace your what? Nice. Anything happens, chip, crack, broken. Has anybody in here ever had to send back a Cutco knife to get sharpened or replaced? What happened?
I bought it broken.
Okay, you sent it back and got a brand new one?
Yep.
So you just bought it from, it was like, you probably bought it like at a yard sale or something?
At a
like.
super sketchy flea market.
And you found it and you just sent it back. Like, how sick is that? He found a broken Cutco knife at a flea market. He knew it was Cutco, but probably they didn't
No,
even
they're
realize
selling it for $1.
And you sent it back and now you have a brand new knife.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
Sweet.
Yeah. Cutco is awesome. And you didn't have a receipt, did you?
No.
No. And he didn't even originally buy it. How cool is that? Cutco is the greatest company on earth. We have the greatest customer service. They will replace any knife without question. That's awesome. Forever performance. Anything happens to it, sent back, fixed, replaced for free. The second part is the forever what? Sharpness guarantee. Whenever your Cutco needs sharpening, just send it back and the company will sharpen and polish for what? Free. All you pay for is the what? Shipping. Okay, this is cool. So there's no limit. Some customers are super OCD and they send it back like every 2 or 3 years, and some customers they send it back every like 20 years. So it doesn't matter. There's no limit. Whenever they send it back, they sharpen and polish it. They buff the handles. They put on a brand new double D edge. This is a set from the early 1950s. Okay, this is from the early 1950s. We didn't send this one back. We did send this one back, just to show you the difference of what happens when you send back a Cutco knife. This knife was made before the double D edge was even invented. When we sent it back, they put on a brand new double D edge on a knife that didn't even originally have one. Like, this is super cool. This knife, don't touch the blade because it'll cut the rope just like the one that Sam cut. And it's really sharp, and this is over 50 years old. Isn't that pretty impressive? So I'm going to pass this around so you can check it out. Keep them together so you can see the difference. But this is what happens when you send back Cutco knives to get sharpened up. Now, if it's in good shape, they'll sharpen it, polish it, and send it back. If it's in really bad shape, they'll just replace it. A lot of times you send it for sharpening and they just send back a brand new one because a lot of times it's just easier to replace it than it is to fix it or sharpen it. Okay. So that's the sharpness guarantee. You guys like that? Yeah. All right. Next up is the misuse or what? If you or your spouse ever happen to destroy your Cutco through abuse, you can send it. You can get it replaced for half what? Price. All right. Check this out. This is a cool story. Cutco is awesome. Our customer service is the best. We have the highest customer service rating in the entire kitchen industry. Nobody beats Cutco. This one said, this is from Evelyn Morris. She said, I bought Cutco cutlery knives in the 1950s. They will replace any knife you return without question or charge. My set has been completely replaced several times during the 45 years I've enjoyed this wonderful product. When my house was burned, I called to reorder and they replaced all my knives for half the price. Her house burned down and they let her replace her set for half price. Isn't that crazy? Cutco's awesome. It's the greatest. It's the greatest. Turned in some orders?
Absolutely.
What did you just sell?
Wine and cheese gift set and the super shoes.
What was the price of the order?
It was $270 with CPO $241.
All right, so he's at 30%, and just say 35%. So
35,
you
yeah.
just made what, like $90?
Something like
So
that.
from the time he left an hour ago until now, he just made $90 while you've been sitting here
It's like a
listening to me.
20-minute
Yeah,
demo.
yeah. Life sucks for Sean.
Yeah,
Life really
it's a
sucks.
really bad day.
Yeah.
Sure.
See ya. All right, number 4, unconditional money back what? Guarantee. We have a 15-day risk-free money back what?
Guarantee.
If you are not satisfied for any reason at all, you can get a full what? Refund. Okay, by the way, this is when I show my Mrs. Jones, when Mr. Jones isn't there. Mrs. Jones, we can't always see both spouses together, so you can try out Cutco together for a few weeks, risk-free, to make sure you both what? Does this make Mrs. Jones feel more comfortable trying it out?
Yes.
Because the only way that Mr. Jones is going to really understand the value is if he actually what? Uses it. Because if Mrs. Jones is like, hey honey, do you want to buy a set of knives? He's going to be like, no. Like, that's a weird thing to ask, right? But if he uses it, he's going to fall in love with it too. So whenever I showed Mrs. Jones by herself, I always told her about the 15-day trial is the best way for Mr. Jones is to try it out and make sure he loves it too. Cutco is such a great investment because you'll never have to buy another set of knives ever what?
Again.
And you can't beat American made and forever what?
Guaranteed.
Beautiful. You guys feel good?
So here's a question: if they return it, do we still get it?
Your commissions get reversed if they return it. Don't be greedy. But the return, here's what's cool, the return rate, Cutco has the lowest return rate out of any product in the kitchen industry. It's like less than 0.5%, which is like unheard of. So I never had a return. In all 4 years of college, I never had a return. It happens once in a blue moon, but not that big. Yeah. All right, and so that's page 5. Turn to page 6. By the way, at this point, we're 10% of the presentation you already knocked out. The rest is talking about all the pieces of the set, cutting up food, and then presenting the prices. So it's really simple. All right, page 6. We're going to talk about the homemaker set. We have a bunch of sets, and all the sets are a great value. I always say it doesn't matter what set you sell as long as you sell a set, because all the sets are a great value. We've got baby sets for people who, not like baby customers, but they're like small sets for customers who want to start small and build up. And then we have big sets for people who love to cook. So there's all different sets for different people's needs, and all the sets are a great value. Now, we have our big sets, the ultimate and signature set, for people who love to cook. Who knows somebody who loves to cook? Who knows somebody who mom and dad cook together? Like they're both husband and wife cook together at the same time. They're both in the kitchen using knives. Who knows somebody who has to have the best of everything? Like they always have to have the nicest of everything. Those people are going to buy the signature and ultimate set. We sell a ton of those. But the most popular set is the homemaker. It's just the basic set. Like this set doesn't look too overwhelming, right? It's just like your average set of knives. This is the most popular by far. Last year, we forgot to change this to 2015, but all these are updated. Last year, we sold 29,798 homemaker sets. Last year. That's full-on homemakers, not including upgrades. If you include upgrades, it was like 50 or 60,000 people in the US and Canada bought or upgraded to a homemaker set. The overwhelming favorite set. The reason is because it's the best value for your average everyday family. It's for people that cook like 2 to 4 times a week. Whose family in here, like, family dinner is like 2 to 4 times a week. Like, just not every day, but a couple times a week. That's your standard set. Whose family does family dinner like a lot, like daily basis? Those people would tend to get the bigger sets because they're cooking more often, but the homemaker is just your average, basic, everyday set. Why do you think we start with the homemaker and not the bigger ones? What do you think?
Cheaper.
Yeah, so it's lower price, so it's not overwhelming price-wise. And why else do you think we start with the small, just the average set, and not the huge ones? What's that?
People don't want to buy what they don't need.
Yeah, so people don't want to buy what they don't need, and everybody just needs the basic stuff. Now, a lot of people will buy the big ones, but we don't want to be overwhelming to the average person. So we start with the basic set. All right, so page 6. Mrs. Jones, you can buy individual pieces, but most customers agree that over a lifetime, sets are a much better what? Value. It's important to have the right tool for the right situation because of safety and what?
Efficiency.
Right, you need the right tool for the right job. Like in golf, you're not going to like go off the tee with a with a putter, and you're not going to go out of the sand with a driver. You need to have the right club for the right shot. Same thing with kitchen knives. If you use a small knife on a big job, really dangerous because you're going to cut yourself and stab yourself. If you use a really big knife on a small job, just as dangerous. So you need the right knife for the right job. The homemaker is the smallest set that will do everything in your kitchen that you need. So it's the smallest, safest, and best value. All right, we have 2 larger set options for customers who love to cook called the Ultimate and what?
Signature.
But I'm going to start with the pieces in our basic set, which is the most what? It's called the Homemaker Plus what?
80.
It's the best what? It's the best what? Oh, sorry, I skipped a line. Sorry.
Value.
It has I was going to say, I need more energy. All right, it has the minimum number of tools to do what? 100% of the jobs in your kitchen is what?
Efficiency.
As?
Possible.
It's the best value for your average family and starts with your paring knife. Why do we say the word your? Why is the word your important? Exactly. Ownership starts with your paring knife. Now, every knife in the set has a name, it has a nickname, it tells you what it's used for, and it also tells you what it's not used for. Now, this is really important because every knife leads into the other one. We say the paring knife is used for this, this, and this, but it's not used for this. That's why you have to have your trimmer. Trimmer is used for these things, but not these things. That's why you have your spatula spreader. So every knife leads into the next one. That way they understand the importance of each tool. So we're going to say the name, the nickname, what it's used for, what it's not used for, and then lead into the next one. Now this section is the section that you can be very interactive. This is the section where the customer is involved because you're cutting a ton. And as far as adding things in, this is the section where you do want to add things in. So as we go through the pieces, I'm going to be naming a bunch of things that you can use that knife for. So this is more conversational. The rest of the demo, word for word, this demo word for word, but you want to add in conversation about what they're going to use the pieces for and different foods that they can cut. So as we go through, just use the margin and just list all the things that they can use each knife for. Okay? So this is where you can really use your personality, have some fun, be interactive. This is the section you want to do that. All right, so the paring knife. The paring knife, the nickname is the what?
Air knife.
Air knife. Why is the nickname the air knife? Who can tell me why you think the nickname is the air knife? It's super light, good. And it's only used in the what? In the air. It's only used in the air. Now the paring knife is never, ever, ever used on the cutting board. Sometimes you'll see grandma cutting celery with a paring knife and she'll be like chopping it like this and you're like, come on grandma, what are you doing? So never used on the cutting board. It's a straight edge, so it's never used for what? Sawing back and forth, perfect. It's a straight edge, so it's only a precision cut. Yes, sawing is the word. What is sawing? All right, so the paring knife only used in the air, never used on the cutting board. So what types of things do you do in the air? What types of things do you cut in the air? You peel, right? So for peeling, so what do you peel? What are some things you can peel? You can jot these things down in the margin. What are peelable items?
Orange.
I don't think you peel an orange with a knife, but that's okay. There's no bad answer. So,
Apple.
yep, apples. How about kiwi? Kiwi, good thing to peel? Kiwi's the best. Okay, so apples, kiwi, potatoes. Anybody ever try to peel potatoes with a normal knife? It's the worst. What's the problem with most paring knives? Who can tell me? What's the problem with most paring knives? They break, they go dull, they're cheap. Also, what do you know? Oh yeah, what is it?
Short handle.
The short handle. So Cutco has the full size handle. As soon as your customer feels this, as soon as they hold on to this, because you get this in your kit, as soon as they hold on to it, they're sold. They're like, okay, I'm getting this paring knife. Like you showed them one knife and they're guaranteed to buy at least this one knife because it's got a comfortable handle. Most paring knives have short stubby handles that dig into your palm. This has a full size handle with full grip, even though it has the short durable blade. Okay, so it says Cutco's air knife has a long handle, makes peeling and paring what? Makes it what? You'll use this for small jobs in the air, but never, cross off rarely and write never, but never on the cutting board. That's why you have your what? Trimmer. Perfect. But in the margin, I want you to write down all the things you can use the paring knife for. So apples, kiwis. You cut the tops off of what? What's the red fruit you cut the tops off of? Chopped off of strawberries. And then how about, so tops off of strawberries and then bananas in what? Cut bananas in what? What do moms cut bananas for? What do you put bananas in?
Sliced.
Are you guys human beings? Do you eat food? Have you ever had cereal in the morning? Bananas and cereal? Am I like the only person? No? Am I confusing you with my really detailed, hard questions? Okay, so paring knife. So it's only used in the air. Let me show you how to use the paring knife. You can go towards yourself like this and you won't cut yourself. Never go like this because you will slice yourself, but you can go towards yourself. So for apples, okay, look at, and I'm not like a mom that does this regularly for my kids, because I don't have them. But you can just go right around the outside like this. You can go towards yourself, and as you'll notice, it doesn't take any of the apple off. It just takes the skin off. So really easy to use. Tops off strawberries, bananas, and cereal. Okay, I don't even need to peel it first. I can just go like this, and it's just, look at this. It's just, you gotta pass this around. It's just beautiful. Check this out. The more food you cut, the more you're gonna sell. Here you go, Caleb. But you use the knife. And who do you want to do the cutting? You or them? Yeah. So just pass it to them and say, check it out. Okay, so that's the paring knife. You guys see the importance of the paring knife in the kitchen? You see why it's important that you have to have this piece? Okay. Now, Andrew, can I introduce you? Guys, this is Andrew James. Andrew's one of our assistant managers. He's actually our sales manager. And this is Andrew's third summer with Cutco. And Andrew is, what do you have in sales now? $55,000 in sales. His first summer sold $35,000, made over 10 grand his first summer in 10 weeks. Andrew is very, very consistent. He never had a week of sales less than $1,000 in his first summer, or actually any summer. He's always sold at least $1,000 every single week, as he's worked very consistent. He holds the record in our office for the longest streak before he had his first no sale. How many demos did it take you to have your first no sale? 79. 79 appointments before he had his first no sale. I had a no sale on my third demo. Like, I hate him for that. Like, then I am so jealous. I had a no sale my first night, and I was like, wah, 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 this stinks. But he had 79 appointments. That's not even fair. Not fair. Now, did everyone buy a set? Did a lot of people buy individual pieces?
Some bought pieces.
Yeah, so a lot of people bought individual pieces, so not everyone's going to buy a set, but a lot of people buy pieces. What's your favorite thing about the job?
I like the flexibility combined with the income. I can work like literally half as much as all my friends and make way more than all of them.
What's the biggest paycheck you got in this job?
I think it was like $1,800.
In 1 week?
Yeah.
That's not even fair. Your first weekend, how many appointments did you do?
I think I did 18.
18, so you maxed it out. How many hours of phone calls did you make between the Thursday night and Friday morning?
Let's see. Probably. I stayed late for one Thursday.
You just stayed in the office?
Yeah, I just phoned, and then Friday morning, and then so probably like at least 3 or 4.
You just booked up all your appointments? And what is the, and does everyone tell you they're gonna buy? What do they all say?
You can just come over for practice. I'm not gonna buy anything. I already have knives.
What do they do?
They buy.
Yeah. And advice on how to get the most out of their fast start?
Fast start, just go all out. Like, you're literally never gonna get another opportunity to do this, and if you go and like hang out with your friends or something like that, it might be fun for now, but I promise you're gonna regret it. Like, I did $12,000 for my fast start, and I literally didn't do demos the rest of it. I regret that. So, if you just go as hard as you possibly can, it's gonna be worth it.
Yep, so Andrew's face is on that back wall back there. He sold $12,000, made $2,600 in income in 10 days. Now, it took a lot of effort, a lot of work. He just busted his butt all day, every day. But it was worth it because then he got to 30%. The rest of the summer, he just cruised. Good, and then to get the most out of training, what's the advice on how to get the most out of training?
Listen to Drew. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, there you go. Take a lot of notes and be involved. Don't be like the dead, like, and Mrs. Jones, because like if you do that, practicing, that's kind of how you're gonna do your demos. So like, get fired up. Like, this job is freaking awesome. I don't know if you guys realize this yet, but get excited. It's fun. A lot of fun. So yeah, so get excited. Have a lot of fun.
Good. Let's give Andrew a round of applause. Thank you, Andrew. All right, but it's never used on the cutting board. That's why you have your what?
Trimmer.
Your trimmer. The trimmer is the most popular knife sold since 1949. This is the most popular knife. It's the utility knife. So most popular knife sold since 1949. This knife is incredible. If they're just going to get one thing to try out, it's got to be the trimmer. It's got the double D edge. It's unique. It's a utility knife. This thing is awesome. All right, it says this is your small what? Utility knife for small fruits and what? Veggies. Do you have a tomato or soft fruit we can what? Cut. Have you guys ever cut a, where's my, do I have tomatoes? Did nobody get me a tomato? Wonderful. I'm gonna need tomatoes. I need Dom, yes. That's like a crucial. Can you ask Dom to grab me, to get a tomato? Did anyone bring a tomato?
I brought a plum.
Thank you. You brought plum? I'll use a plum.
Okay.
Is that your lunch or is that cuttable? All right, sweet. Throw me the plum. All right, we're gonna do some knife tricks here. All right, so I gotta show you the tomato because tomatoes are the greatest thing to ever cut. But it's for all your small fruits and veggies on the cutting board. Why would I not use this knife for a big chicken? Why would I not use it for a chicken? There's better knives, right? Bigger knives, right? This is way too small for a chicken. So this is for all your small stuff on the cutting board. It's called the trimmer because it's designed for trimming the fat around the edges of meat. So it's for trimming the fats. You wouldn't cut a big piece of meat with this because it's too small, but you can trim fats. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to show you how thin. Imagine this is a tomato. This is like a perfectly ripe, juicy tomato. It's just purple, okay? Thank you. What happens to a tomato when you cut with a normal knife? smashes it. It just ruins it. How many times do we ruin tomatoes? Like how many slices of tomato can you get with a normal knife? Yeah, like a couple slices and the rest are scraps. Would you say that the average family wastes a lot of scraps on tomatoes? I want to blow your mind for a second. Ready for your minds to be blown? Okay, check this out. Let's say that the average family saves 1 tomato a week, or like let's say $1 a week on tomatoes just by not wasting scraps. If the average family saves $1 a week by not wasting scraps on tomatoes, 52 weeks a year, it's $52 a year, over 30 years, they're gonna save $1,500 on tomatoes. This one knife cutting tomatoes over 30 years will save $1,500. Savings. Just this one knife, just on tomatoes. Isn't that cool to think about? All right, so check this out. Are you ready for this? Here, you gotta pass this around.
See?
Yeah, no, seriously, this is a slice that's for your sandwich, okay? Hey, Devin, or something, you can tell, one of my assistants, you can tell Dom he doesn't have to get the tomato. The plum is working perfectly. Here, you can pass it around. It's like a contact lens. This thing is nuts. Check this out. You can go forward, oh, look at this. You can see the veins in the plum. Like, do you know plums have veins in them? Tomatoes have veins too. You can see, like, if you put it up to the light, here, pass it around, you can put it up to the light. Is it possible to get that thin of a slice with any other knife? You can tell Dom scraps the tomato, I'm good on this. All right, check this out. So you can go forwards, you can go backwards with, like, oh, look at this. You can see through it. Here, you gotta, yeah, Sam's getting annoyed because I'm using him for he's my Vanna White today. But look at this, you go forwards and backwards. Would you ever go straight down on a tomato? No. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. You guys know soccer moms? You guys like soccer moms? Okay, check this out. So soccer moms, take the top off, cut the bottom off, it sits straight, just drag it through. Is that cool or what? What should you cut in every demo no matter what? Oranges, tomatoes. Why are apples so hard to cut? Because they're dense and also the core, right? Yeah, this is really difficult. Check this out. It cut the seeds in half. You gotta pass this around. It split the seeds in half. Is that crazy or what? It's tight, isn't it? It's tight. Is that cool? You guys like this knife? You see the importance of this knife in the set? So all the small fruits and veggies on the cutting board, that's a trimmer. Now, back to the manual. So did you guys write those things down on the side of the margin? So apples, oranges, tomatoes, small fruits and veggies, trimming fats from the edge of the meat. All right, it says mine has a pearl what? Pearl what? Handle. Which color do you like what? Better. Whatever they say, you're going to say me too. Okay, so the white handles are the pearl, the black handles are the classic. So whatever they say, you're just going to say me too and smile. Okay? Everyone loves the versatility, but it's never used for spreading or serving. That's why you have your what? Spatula spreader. Everyone say spatula spreader.
Spatula spreader.
All right, so the spatula spreader is a favorite, but it can't be your favorite. Here's why. If you are only excited about the ones that you'd use the most, then your customers are only getting excited about those too. You have to get excited about all knives equally. This spatula is awesome though. You guys, this is my dad's favorite. Who's got a football dad like my dad? Anyone have a football dad? My dad loves football, and he loves this knife because it's got the double D edge, so you can cut. It'll cut just like any other knife, by the way. So it's got the double D edge, so you can cut with it, but it also, can I get one of my assistants, can I get that orange back, or another orange? So it'll cut, right, check this out. So right through the grapefruit there. So it'll cut, but it's also flexible, so it'll serve. It's also the music maker, so it's fun. But this is the spatula spreader is phenomenal. Thank you, sir. So spatula spreader, it'll cut and it'll serve. My dad loves it for sandwiches because in the middle of a football game, he'll run into the kitchen on a commercial break. He'll cut his bagel because he's from Philly. He'll spread his mayo on one side, his mustard with the other side. He'll cut his tomato, put his tomato on, his turkey, his lettuce. He'll cut his sandwich, and he'll like be back in front of the game, in front of the TV before the game starts, with one knife. Because if he's working with all different types of knives, there's no way he's making it back in front of the TV. He's going to miss a play, and that would really piss my dad off. So he uses one knife as his sandwich making machine. Now my mom loves it for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because growing up we did PB&J, we did tuna fish, egg salad sandwiches. So ever make a PB&J sandwich with a normal knife? You guys ever make a PB&J sandwich? and you like balance the jelly on the knife. It like ruins the bread. Well, with this, it's just one scoop. It's perfect every time. Ever do bagels and cream cheese? You guys like bagels and cream cheese? You cut the bagel and then you spread the cream cheese. It's like the Philadelphia cream cheese commercial. It's perfect every time. All this knife. What happens when you cut that lasagna with a normal spatula? Falls apart. The middle noodle gets sucked in. What happens when you cut an apple pie with a normal pie cutter? Falls apart. First piece of pie always ruined. You guys want to see the most impressive thing you'll ever see in your life? Yeah. All right, check this out. So we got apple pie here. You guys you gotta make sure you thank Dom for this because Dom bought you guys a couple pies. Check this out. Double the edge. Now don't, if it's got icing on it, don't lick it, okay? Because it's really sharp. This is, just be smart. All right, so you're gonna cut the pie, and what's neat is the double the edge. It cuts it, okay? And then it scoops it out so that way you don't ruin that first piece of pie. So we're cutting it, actually cuts the pie, scoop it out, perfect piece of pie every time. Is that awesome or what? Who wants this knife? Do you see the importance of having this knife in the set? Yeah. Who wants the pie? You thought I was going to ask you. You're going to have the pie too, don't worry. All right, so we're going to cut all this stuff up. We're going to have a big buffet out there in a little bit. So that's the spatula spreader. You guys like this knife? So what did you write in the margins? What are the things that you wrote in the margins there? So pie, what else? Bagels and cream cheese, what else? PB&J, lasagna. That thing is awesome. All right, so we forgot to read it because we were so excited. The wide, flexible, double the edge allows you to cut, spread, and serve sandwiches, bagels, lasagna, and what?
Cake.
You'll never use it for on meat or large vegetables. That's why you have your what? Your petite carver. Now your petite carver is the one that we cut the rope with. So this is the rope cutting knife, and this is the one with the black handle. Okay, so the black handle is the classic. The white handle is the pearl. I need one of those. So you have this petite carver. So the petite carver is the medium-sized knife. So this would be way too big for a tomato, but it's also too small for a big turkey. Like a turkey, massive, I wouldn't use this knife. I need an actual carving knife. So this is your in-between knife. So it says this large utility knife is your everyday meat knife for chicken and small what? It's also great for large what? And tough what? Do you have a large fruit we can what? Like a what? All right, so I want to show you how Cutco saves money. It doesn't make sense to not buy Cutco. In fact, if they say no to Cutco, it actually costs them more to say no than it does to say yes. Anybody's mom ever buy a pineapple from the grocery store in like the Tupperware container, like the pre-cut one? Whose mom's ever bought like pre-cut Tupperware pineapple? It costs like $5, $6, $7, $8. It's ridiculous. A pineapple is like $1.50. Let's say that there's a $2 difference. Okay, let's say it's a $2 difference, and again, it's like a $6 difference. But let's say it's a $2 difference, $2, and let's say you do it once a week. I know you don't do pineapples all year long, but I'm just painting a picture here. That's $104 a year. Over 30 years, they're going to save, by using the petite carver and cutting your own pineapple over a lifetime, they're going to save $3,000 on pineapple. And what's more fresh, the Tupperware or the actual pineapple? What do you get more out of, the Tupperware or the actual pineapple? Exactly, a lot more, right? So it's cheaper and juicier, more fresh. You guys ready for this? You want to time me? Somebody want to time me? What's up?
Should we do like all this math stuff in front of them?
No. This is good question. Great question. This is more for you, because I'm just selling you, because you guys don't use knives all the time, so you're not in the market for it. So I'm just selling you on why it's so important. It's really to build your confidence. So, but yeah, you could like ask some of those questions. I wouldn't go into too much detail on it, but it is pretty impressive to look at those numbers, right? All right, you guys ready for this? Check this out. It was like 10 seconds. Is that insane or what? You guys see the importance of this knife? Now do you see why everybody told you to cut a pineapple in your demo? Yeah. All right. So, do you guys want to cut? You guys like melons? Yeah. You guys like honeydew and cantaloupe and melon? Okay. So check this out. I got this melon here. You're gonna love this. All right, this melon. You guys like this? So what should you cut on all your demos? A lot of food. The more food you cut, the more you're gonna sell. Is this cool or what? You guys see the value of the petite carver in the set? All right, so it's your everyday meat knife, and it's your summer fruits knife. Okay, the petite carver is used along with your turning what? What is that thing called? Fork. Turning what? Fork. Okay, so your turning fork, this is actually the most underrated piece in the set. I use the turning fork all the time. It's underrated because most people don't appreciate the importance of a turning fork until they use the Cutco turning fork. Most forks think, have you ever tried to get like pickles out of a jar? You just stab it like 100 times, it doesn't work, so you like dunk your hand in there. You ever try to get like cherries or olives out of a jar? Or have you ever tried to chase bacon in the pan? Like you can't get it, or like you're trying to turn chicken, so you have to like flip it over the edge. Ever do that? Okay, your moms have. All right, so you're like, I don't cook. So the turning fork, the way it's shaped makes it really easy to use because the 3 sharp tines make it easy to turn meats and veggies and get things out of what?
Jars.
None of the pieces used for larger foods, that's why you have your what? Butcher knife. Okay, but the way it's shaped, the edges flare out on the outside. So when you hold something, when you press down, it locks it in there. It's not going to come off. You can play the trick of the dog, and this isn't going anywhere, okay? But then it's flattened out in the back, so it slides right off. Okay, so you pick it up, slide it off. Pick it up, slide it off. It's just so much fun. It's so easy. Like, it's just effortless. Oh, isn't that cool? You can't do this with any other fork. Now, it doesn't have a full tang because we don't want it to get hot in the customer's hand because they usually use it over a hot surface. So, but it's chemically bonded to the thermal resin. It's never coming out, never coming off. But this thing is incredible. But most people don't appreciate it until they use it. So that's the turning fork. But none of these is used for larger foods. That's why we have our what? Our what? Butcher knife. This heavy-duty knife disjoints large meats and is great for melons and what? Squash. Okay, so this is the heavy-duty big bad knife in the set that looks pretty scary at first, but it's for all the jobs that you don't trust your other knives with. Now, I love the butcher knife. I use it a lot. Now, normally you would look at this and say, this is used for what? Like meat, right? This is like the meat knife. This is good for frozen foods, like frozen meats. Who's got like the freezer at home with all the frozen foods in it? So this is your frozen foods meat. So write that down in the margin. Really, really important for meat eaters to have this. Also separating turkey and chicken and duck and roast, like going through rib racks, things like that. So this is for your big heavy duty meats, but also for your melons and squash. Now I don't eat meat, so I don't eat meat, but I use this all the time because I do a lot of melons, I do a lot of squash. Whose families like me, where they're like not a ton of meat at home, but a lot of melons, a lot of squash, things like that. So even if they're vegetarian, they still need this knife in their set. Everybody needs a butcher knife. Now the butcher knife has a straight edge, so it's never used for sawing back and what? Forth. It's only used for precision cut. Now the way that you use a butcher knife is not like how you see on, like, it's not like Gallagher, it's not like that. So the way you use the butcher knife is, it's the straight edge, it has the curve to it, you break the seal and use the rest of the knife just to power through. So you're going to break the seal and then power through. Anybody ever, anybody's family like buy like the Tupperware watermelon? Because a regular watermelon, you don't have any knives that will cut the regular watermelon. Whose moms buy the Tupperware watermelon? That's like $10, $12, $15 for a Tupperware of watermelon. For watermelon, for a couple bucks, it's way more fresh, way more juicy, and you get a lot more watermelon out of it. You save a ton of money by using this knife. Okay, so look at this. All you have to do is cut and smile. Like, that's literally all you do in this job is cut and smile. You guys like that? You see the importance of the butcher knife in the set? Now, how about chicken? So this will separate a chicken. Whose family does like an average of maybe like 1 chicken a week, like family dinner, 1 chicken a week? This is gonna blow your mind. So Kayla, you're gonna like this. So if you buy a chicken in a grocery store, it's like $6, $7, $8. Now, if you buy a pre-cut chicken, the same exact chicken pre-cut, it's like $12, $13. It's like a $4 or $5 difference to buy it pre-cut versus whole. If you buy the whole chicken, you go right through the joints, right through the bones. It separates it yourself. It takes 5 seconds to do it with the butcher knife. You're going to save at least $2 every time. If you do that once a week, That's $104 saved per year. Over 30 years, you're saving $3,000 on chicken. This one knife pays for the set, just by cutting chicken once a week. Isn't that impressive? Like if you lived off of pineapple, chicken, and tomatoes, you're gonna save $7,500 over a lifetime just by having those 3 knives. It doesn't make sense to not buy Cutco because when they use Cutco, they save a lot of money, not just on the food they're cutting, but also not having to buy cheap knives over and over. Also, think about how much more fun it is to cut. People are going to eat at home a lot more and not spend as much money in restaurants because it's more fun because they have great knives. So Cutco saves thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. You guys like that? All right. So that's the butcher knife. But the butcher knife, oh, we didn't even read it because I was too excited. All right. It protects your other knives, but it's not a chopping knife. That's why you have your what? No. Next one. Petite chef. Yeah, the petite chef knife. So the petite chef is your chopping knife. Now, every kitchen needs to have a good chef knife. It's very, very important to have a good chef knife in the kitchen. I love this knife. It's a straight edge, so it's never used for cutting back and what? Forth. It's only for precision cutting. Now, the chef knife is actually the safest knife that we have because your fingers are never near the blade. The way that you use a chef knife is not like you see on TV. On TV, you see where they go chop, 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 chop. With this chef knife, the way that it's used is the point stays in the cutting board. Don't go too far, Keelan. The point stays on the cutting board, and use the back half of the blade to do the cutting. So it's really safe because the way that you cut is it never leaves the cutting board. So rule of thumb when you're chopping, knuckles out, fingertips in, and use the back half of the blade just like that, up and down, just like that. So it's easier, it's safer, it's more efficient than using a small knife to cut piece by piece. Now when I was in college, I know we got rid of that potato over there, but when I was in college, my roommates and I, we used this chef knife all the time, Sunday mornings. Okay, because what happens on Saturday nights needs a chef knife on Sunday mornings because we used to chop and dice potatoes, put them in a vat of oil, and then we used to have hash browns on Sunday morning to soak up Saturday night. So this, I was 21 obviously, it was only senior year of college. But anyway, the chef knife, really, really important to have in the set, but it's that way you use the chef knife the right way. Always high knuckle clearance, just up and down like this. So really important to have the chef knife in the set. Now it says the high knuckle clearance makes it comfortable and safer for dicing, mincing, and what? Chopping. This delicate chopper is great for the 6 what? Soup, salad, stir fry, stew, stuffing, and what?
Salsa.
Out of those 6 S's, how many does the average family do pretty regularly? Most of them, right? Most families do at least a handful of those. So do you see the importance of this knife in the set? You have to have a chef knife. You have to have a good chef knife. Chef knives for chopping, not slicing. That's why you have your what? Slicer. Guys, this is Keelan Wedeking. And Keelan just started, 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago?
About 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago. What's your favorite thing about the job, Keelan?
The money.
How much?
And the great experience that
and the resume, and the skills, and all of that. Good. What is what do you feel like you've learned so far?
It's definitely pushed my communication skills, that's for sure. So I'm just have way more confidence whenever I'm meeting anybody, and I've learned a lot about how great Cutco knives are.
What are you at in sales now?
After this order gets in, I'm at 9,000 or 8,000.
So 3 weeks, he's made over $1,600 in less than 3 weeks. Not too bad, almost at 30%. If you were to go back and do your faster all over again, what would you do differently?
Make more calls.
Make more calls, do more demos?
Yeah.
How many did you do per day on average?
For the fast start,
Yeah.
on average 4.
4, and you would do, just blow it out of the water, do more than that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do like 6 a day, really. You should.
Do you make up your own thing or just follow the script?
Follow the script.
Perfectly word for word?
Perfectly word for word.
And what do you cut in your demos?
I cut pineapple. You have to have the pineapple and a carrot. I use carrot for the,
That thing.
that thing, peeler, and then I also use it for the trimmer to show cutting or the petite chef knife.
Yeah, cool. And should they get excited about their fast start?
Indeed, you should. You're going to be making way more money than you ever have, I guess.
Yeah. And how many hours of phone calls did you make on Thursday after training?
So, hour in training, I got booked, I think like 11, and then when I went home, an hour and a half more of calling,
You booked the rest of them?
and then I booked the rest of it.
Awesome. Good. Let's give Keelan a round of applause. Thank you, Keelan. All right, so the slicer is one of my favorites. I love the slicer. This bread is super fresh, by the way. This is like a perfect fresh loaf of bread. What happens with most loaves of bread when you cut? You tear it, you rip it, it smashes it, right? So I'm not going to put any pressure on this. Let's read it first, because I get way too excited about the cutting. It's the best bread knife in the world, and the long double D edge makes it great for cutting cakes, shredding lettuce, and slicing boneless what?
Meats.
But it's not for anything with a bone. That's why we have your what? Okay, so this is for boneless meats. London broil, pot roast, okay, brisket, Noah. Okay, this is for all your boneless meats. Okay, this is for your anything that doesn't have a bone in it. Really, really important to have this knife in the set. Also, I use it for heads of lettuce. Okay, I'm gonna show you. You're just gonna freak you out. Hey, Berg or one of my assistants, can I get a big cutting board? So I'm gonna cut this loaf of bread, and I'm not gonna put any pressure in it at all. I'm just gonna hold the knife, and I'm gonna drag back and forth, and I'm gonna let the weight of the knife do the cutting. Would that happen with a normal knife? Look at this. No crumbs at all. This is like, it looks fake. Doesn't it look like a commercial? Like, this is real. This just happened. You guys like that? All right, you want to see my rapid fire bread cutting? Could you do that with another knife? Baller, right? All right, so can I get a huge one? Can I get an actual real one? Big one?
Yep.
Big. All right. So this is the so with the slicer, I like this for lettuce. Now, when you buy a head of lettuce in the grocery store, a head of lettuce is like $1, $1.50. How much is a bag of lettuce in the grocery store? Like $4, $5, $6, maybe even more. What do you get more lettuce out of, the bag or the head? What's more fresh, the bag or the head? Head. Okay, and it's a lot cheaper too. So if my family, we did salads like every night with dinner. We did salad. Anybody's family like me, you always do like a salad with dinner. So this was big because we used to do salads all the time. So my mom would take her slicer, she would take a head of lettuce, and she would do it herself rather than buying the bag. You save at least $2 every single time. We did it minimum like 3 times a week, but let's just say it's once a week. Over 52 weeks, it's $104 saved per year. Over 30 years, you're saving $3,000 on lettuce. So the slicer over a lifetime will save $3,000 on just heads of lettuce. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the slicer, I'm going to cut the butt off, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to save this half for another family dinner. Okay, I'm just going to do those 3. Turn it to the side, cut it this way, and then turn it one more time, cut it in half. And now I have my chopped salad for my family dinner. I just put it in the bowl, put all my other veggies in there, and that's way more fresh, way more lettuce than you're gonna get from a bag. And this costs about 75 cents, whereas if I bought a bag, it would be like $4 or $5. You guys like that? You see the importance of this knife in the set? All right, so there's the slicer. But it's for slicing, it's for things without a bone, not with a bone. That's why we have your master carving what? Set. So the master carving set, they're not going to use it every day. The nickname of the master carving set is the spare tire. How many wheels in a car? 5. Come on, I just gave you the answer. So 5 wheels in a spare tire. Do you think about it every day? But when you need it, how do you feel about it? You're glad you have it, right? So this is the spare tire. Now, if they use this all the time, I'd be really nervous. I'd be really scared to go to their house if they use this all the time. So even if they just use this once a year, just on Thanksgiving, over a lifetime, are they going to get a lot of use out of this? Yeah. Even if they just used it once a year. Whose family uses the electric carver still? Anybody's family uses the electric carver? It's horrible. It's terrible. It rips and shreds it. This is so beautiful. It's like sexy on the counter, or like in front of their guests. Like Mr. Jones will look like a master chef with this. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. This thing is awesome. So this is the master carving set. It's like your spare tire. You won't use it every day, but you'll be glad you what? Do you ever barbecue or host family what? You'll need it for barbecue, big roast, and all your family what? Both forks are important because the turning fork picks food up while the carving fork holds meats down. So that turning fork with the 3 times, the 3 little prongs, that's for picking things up. This is for holding things down. You can't use both for the same thing because this is your anchor. Like you can't get pickles out of a jar with this. You'd have to like harpoon it. You know, it wouldn't work. And the turning fork, you can't hold a turkey down with it. So they're used for opposite things. So that one's for picking things up. This one's for holding meats down.